interconnect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Good evening, I'm Alma Angeles, and you're watching ASEAN in Focus on tonight's headlines. President Marcos extended his heartfelt sympathy to the people of Morocco following a powerful 6.8 magnitude earthquake that struck on September 8th, claiming the lives of over 2,000 individuals. In the aftermath of Morocco's most powerful earthquake on record, which struck the Atlas Mountains late last Friday, teams from Morocco and abroad are racing against time to locate survivors in the rubble of mountain villages. At the UN Human Rights Council, top UN-appointed independent rights experts reiterated that grave international crimes persistently afflict the people of Myanmar, and these crimes are perpetrated by the country's military junta and affiliated militias amidst a substantial intensification of armed conflict. And President Marcos Jr. expressed the government's commitment to harnessing cutting-edge technology for a dependable rice supply in the Philippines. Speaking at the launch of the 2023 Mariano Marcos State University Philippine Rice Research Institute, Rice Paddy Art, President Marcos emphasized the importance of translating new technology from the laboratory to the rice field. He also stressed the urgency of adopting these innovations, especially in the context of climate change. First in our news, President Marcos Jr. conveyed his heartfelt sympathy to the people of Morocco in the aftermath of a powerful 6.8 magnitude earthquake that struck on November 8, claiming the lives of over 2,500 individuals. In a message posted on X, formerly Twitter, President Marcos expressed the deep sadness of the Filipino people over the tragic event, stating, "We stand in grief and solidarity with you, and our prayers go to the families affected by this tragedy." The president assured that the Philippines is prepared to extend assistance and support to aid Morocco in its rapid recovery from the disaster. He expressed hope that the Moroccan people would remain united and resilient in the face of this devastating earthquake, emphasizing their strength and determination to rebuild. The 6.8 magnitude earthquake occurred on September 8 at 11:11 p.m. local time, with its epicenter near the town of Igil in Al Hawuz province, approximately 70 kilometers southwest of Marrakesh, according to the United States Geological Survey. The Philippine ambassador to Morocco, Leslie Baha, confirmed that no Filipinos were harmed or affected by the powerful earthquake, providing assurance to concerned parties. This seismic event marks Morocco's most significant earthquake since 2004, when a 6.3 magnitude quake struck the port city of Olsema, claiming the lives of approximately 630 people. Seismological experts have cautioned survivors about potential aftershocks, which could persist for weeks or even months following such a powerful earthquake. Meanwhile, at the UN General Assembly, the third plenary session commenced with a solemn 1-minute silence to honor the victims of the devastating 6.8 magnitude earthquake that struck the Atlas Mountains located southwest of the popular tourist destination of Marrakesh. This tragic event has claimed the lives of no less than 2,862 individuals, leaving more than 2,500 others injured.
Thank you.
In the aftermath of Morocco's most powerful earthquake on record, which struck the Atlas Mountains late last Friday with a magnitude of 6.8, rescue efforts have intensified as teams from Morocco and abroad race against time to locate survivors in the rubble of mountain villages. In the severely impacted community of Talat Niyakub, the response has been swift. 12 ambulances and numerous 4x4 vehicles from the army and police have been deployed. Approximately 100 Moroccan rescuers are diligently searching for any signs of life amid the collapsed buildings. However, the situation in some remote Moroccan villages presents a stark contrast. Residents of these hard-to-reach areas have expressed a sense of abandonment in the wake of the earthquake, which claimed the lives of thousands of people.
الدولة راه ما جاتش ما شفنا حتى حاجة. المهم نيت هذاك النهار نيت فاش خرجنا الضحايا جا القايد والجندارم قيدوا الضحايا صافي ومشاو حتى واحد ما بقى شرجع عندنا والوقاية المدنية ما كايناش لا المخازنية لا والو.
محقورين حنا صافي داكشي اللي نقول ما لحقنا حتى واحد. بغينا حنا السكنة بغينا فين يسكنوا هاد الناس مساكن اللي بغينا.
Additionally, a heartwarming display of solidarity has emerged as Moroccans and foreigners have come forward to donate blood at a center in Morocco's Marrakesh following the earthquake. Patients have been arriving at a military hospital established in the village of Asni, located in the stricken province of Al Huz, just over an hour from Marrakesh.
I think every Moroccan was needed to do this. It's like something a little bit to help our people and our country. Speechless. I feared that I'm gonna lose my family and lose myself. I thought I'm gonna die. For once, I was blink. I couldn't think.
The enormity of this disaster continues to unfold as rescue teams tirelessly work to aid those affected by this catastrophic earthquake. And here are the latest developments from the 22nd anniversary of the tragic Al-Qaeda attack on the U.S. On Monday, solemn ceremonies unfolded in New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania as bells rang and the names of nearly 3,000 people were read aloud to commemorate the 22nd anniversary of the Al-Qaeda attack on the U.S. At the heart of the commemoration, Vice President Kamala Harris, alongside current and former mayors of New York, stood alongside the families of the victims at the 9/11 memorial on the site where the World Trade Center's iconic Twin Towers once stood. These towers were tragically brought down by two hijacked aircraft on that fateful day. In New York, the names of the over 2,600 individuals who lost their lives were read by family members, as well as young relatives who had not yet been born at the time of the attack. In Washington, at the Pentagon, where a third aircraft was crashed into the headquarters of the U.S. military by the attackers, a sailor rang a ship's bell for each of the 184 lives lost in that location. Further west in Pennsylvania, where a fourth hijacked plane was courageously diverted, preventing it from reaching its intended target in Washington, bells tolled in honor of the 40 passengers and crew who tragically lost their lives. The attack was masterminded by Al-Qaeda chief Osama bin Laden, who was ultimately located and eliminated nearly a decade later by U.S. Navy SEALs during a raid on his hideout in Pakistan. President Joe Biden, who was returning from the G20 summit in India, reflected on the importance of unity and global leadership. He stressed the enduring strength of the U.S.
Let's honor September 11th by renewing our faith in one another. Let us remember who we are as a nation. We never forget. We're never afraid. We endure. We overcome. We are the United States of America. And there is nothing, literally, historically, nothing has been beyond our capacity when we set our mind to it together.
President Biden highlighted his recent trips to India and Vietnam, emphasizing the significance of broad alliances and partnerships in ensuring national security.
I'm just returning from the G20 summit in India, where we strengthened America's leadership on the global stage, followed by a historic trip to Vietnam, where we transformed our partnership in one of the most critical regions in the world. These trips are an essential part of how we're going to ensure the United States is flanked by the broadest array of allies and partners who will stand with us and deter any threat to our security. To build a world that is safer for all of our children, something that today of all days we're reminded of is not a given.
He also addressed the evolving threat landscape, noting that the Al-Qaeda threat from Afghanistan and Pakistan has reached a historic low, reflecting the changes over the last 22 years.
The resolve of the American people has proved we never bow, We never bend. We never yield. Our longest war is over, but our commitment to preventing another attack on the United States and our people and our allies will never, never rest. Never.
As the nation observed this solemn anniversary, President Biden called for unity and resilience.
Today, we can look across the country and around the world and see anger and fear in places many of you have been stationed before. A rising tide of hatred and extremism and political violence. It's more important than ever that we come together around the principle of American democracy, regardless of our political backgrounds. We must not succumb to the poisonous politics of difference and division. We must never allow ourselves to be pulled apart by petty manufactured grievances. We must continue to stand united.
North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un embarked on a significant journey, marking his first trip abroad in 4 years. He boarded his heavily armored train en route to Russia for anticipated arms talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Experts speculate that the talks between Kim Jong-un and President Putin could revolve around a significant exchange of resources. President Putin is believed to be seeking artillery shells and anti-tank missiles from North Korea, potentially to support Moscow's involvement in the conflict in Ukraine. On the other hand, Kim Jong-un is reportedly interested in securing advanced technology for satellites and nuclear-powered submarines. Additionally, his nation faces severe food shortages, and it's expected that discussions may also involve seeking food aid for North Korea's impoverished population. Recently, the White House issued a warning indicating that Pyongyang would face consequences if it supplied Moscow with weaponry for the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The U.S. expressed a perspective on Putin's motivation for meeting with Kim Jong-un. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller characterized it as begging for assistance.
A year and a half ago, President Putin launched this war against Ukraine with its full-scale aggression with a dream of restoring the glory of the Russian Empire. That hope, that expectation of his has failed. It will continue to fail. And I think there's no better evidence of that than now, a year and a half later. Not only has he failed to achieve his goals on the battlefield, but you see him traveling across his own country, hat in hand, to beg Kim Jong-un for military assistance. And the fact that it comes just after the G20 this weekend, where President Biden was there meeting with his fellow counterparts, leaders of major countries in the world, and President Putin was nowhere to be found, I think largely because of his own international pariah status that he has foisted upon himself through his actions. So in terms of what it means going forward, I think obviously it means that he is having trouble sustaining the military effort, and so is looking for help from North Korea. And in terms of what our reaction will be to it, so we're going to monitor very closely the outcome of this meeting. I will remind both countries that any transfer of arms from North Korea to Russia would be in violation of multiple United Nations Security Council resolutions. And we, of course, have aggressively enforced our sanctions against entities that fund Russia's war effort, and we will continue to enforce those sanctions and will not hesitate to impose new sanctions if appropriate. I think it's fair to say that that having to travel across the length of his own country to ask.
But it's still his own country.
Yeah,
so,
I know. To meet with an international pariah to ask for assistance in a war that he expected to win in the opening month. Look, I would characterize it as him begging for assistance. Now we'll see. There may be something that he offers in exchange. We'll see what it comes. We'll monitor it very closely.
Okay.
The White House has earlier provided insights into the evolving situation, indicating that arms negotiations between Russia and North Korea are actively advancing. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby disclosed that Russia's defense minister Sergei Shoigu had attempted to secure artillery ammunition from Pyongyang during a recent visit to North Korea. Russia is believed to be in in need of 122 millimeter and 152 millimeter shells due to dwindling stocks. However, North Korea's secretive nature makes it challenging to assess its full artillery inventory accurately. During a meeting in July between Kim Jong-un and Mr. Shoigu, weapons were displayed, including the Hwasong Intercontinental Ballistic Missile, or ICBM. This missile is believed to be North Korea's first ICBM using solid propellants. It's also worth noting that this meeting marked the first time Kim Jong-un had opened the country's doors to foreign guests since the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, North Korea marked its founding anniversary with a grand parade attended by the country's leader, Kim Jong-un. The event, which took place on Friday, also saw the presence of Russian diplomats and a high-ranking Chinese delegation. This demonstration of unity underscores Pyongyang's deepening ties with Moscow and Beijing. Contrary to previous military parades that showcased North Korea's banned weaponry, such as intercontinental ballistic missiles, this event featured Pyongyang's paramilitary forces, as reported by state media. Leader Kim Jong-un, accompanied by his young daughter, observed the parade, appearing in high spirits, smiling and even applauding. During the parade, North Korea and Russia announced their shared commitment to further intensifying the multifaceted coordination and cooperation between the two nations, according to a separate report by the Korean Central News Agency, or KCNA. Russian diplomats attended the event along with the Russian military song and dance ensemble that had traveled to Pyongyang to participate in the festivities. In a significant move, Moscow had expanded its official presence in North Korea shortly before the parade. The Russian embassy in Pyongyang disclosed this week that it had been permitted to rotate in 20 diplomatic and technical staff, marking the first such personnel rotation since 2019. Russian President Vladimir Putin conveyed a message to Kim Jong-un, extending warm wishes on the anniversary. In his message, Putin emphasized the need for the two countries to expand bilateral ties in all respects, as reported by KCNA. Furthermore, Chinese state media reported that President Xi Jinping personally extended congratulations in a call to Kim Jong-un to mark the anniversary. Friday's parade marked North Korea's third such event this year, with the last one occurring in late July. The previous parade primarily featured the country's most advanced weaponry and was held to commemorate the signing of an armistice that ended hostilities in the 1950-53 Korean War. In a recent address, President Marcos Jr. expressed the government's commitment to harnessing cutting-edge technology for a dependable rice supply in the Philippines. Speaking at the launch of the 2023 Mariano Marcos State University Philippine Rice Research Institute Rice Paddy Art, President Marcos emphasized the importance of translating new technology from the laboratory to the rice field.
And there's a necessary work to be done for us to be able to, as I say, take the new technology from the laboratory to the rice field. And that is where we now come in. And when I say we in terms of the Department of Agriculture. Yan ang gagawin ngayon ng DA na kukunin ng pinakamagagandang teknolohiya. Lalo ngayon, technologies become so important, the new technologies have become so important because of climate change. Ang daming nagbabago, ang daming kailangan baguhin, kailangan pag-aralan so that we can make sure that we have a stable source of supply, and that supply is affordable to ordinary Filipinos.
He stressed the urgency of adopting these innovations, especially in the context of climate change.
That is so important now, especially with everything that we are facing. Nahihirapan tayo dahil nga sa climate change. We have had to control the prices of rice because the markets are very volatile. So we're trying to stabilize it here in the Philippines.
President Marcos, who also serves as the concurrent secretary of the Department of Agriculture, announced that the government would focus on developing the essential technologies required for bolstering agricultural productivity. Furthermore, President Marcos acknowledged the necessity of increasing rice production in the country.
So it's correct, we have to increase our production, but we have to make sure that increase in production redounds to the benefit of the farmer.
The president's remarks were made during his presence at the MMSU Phil Rice's Rice Paddy Art Launch, which featured an artistic portrayal of his facial image and his governance tagline, Bagong Pilipinas. This event was held as part of the commemoration of the 106th birth anniversary of his father, the late President Marcos Jr., or the late President Marcos Sr. in Batac City, Ilocos Norte. The MMSU Phil Rice Paddy Art project aims to pay tribute to individuals who have made substantial contributions to agricultural development and nation building. Additionally, it serves as a platform for showcasing innovative rice production technologies and promoting agritourism in the province of Ilocos Norte. Meanwhile, the Presidential Communications Office has officially confirmed that President Marcos Jr. is scheduled to embark on a significant trip to Singapore. He will be a featured speaker at the prestigious 10th ASEAN Conference in September. On September 13, President Marcos will address an esteemed audience, including economic managers and business leaders at the Milken Institute. He will be the first Philippine leader to engage in such a forum. The 30-minute event, titled A Conversation with the President of the Republic of the Philippines, will focus on his administration's priority policies and programs aimed at improving the lives of Filipinos, particularly in the face of challenges posed by significant global events. This Asian conference will also feature Malaysian Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim as an expected guest. Discussions at the Asia Summit 2023 will include a wide range of topics, including peace and stability, inequality, cultural differences, and the urgent issue of irreparable environmental damage in the region. In addition to his address at the Milken Institute, the President has a packed itinerary that includes meetings with Singaporean business leaders, and the aim is to enhance economic ties and explore opportunities for potential partnerships between the Philippines and Singapore across various industries. Further underscoring the significance of President Marcos Jr.'s visit, he has received a special invitation from Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong to attend the Formula One Singapore Grand Prix 2023. Top UN-appointed independent rights experts reiterated at the UN Human Rights Council today that grave international crimes persistently afflict the people of Myanmar. These crimes are perpetrated by the country's military junta and affiliated militias amidst a substantial intensification of armed conflict. The panel presented its fifth annual report covering the period from July 2022 to July this year.
Tragically, the frequency and intensity of war crimes and crimes against humanity has only increased in recent months. In the past year, we have seen more brazen aerial bombings and indiscriminate shelling, resulting in the deaths of innocent civilians, including children. We have also seen increased executions of captured combatants and civilians, and intentional burnings of homes and villages. We have collected compelling evidence of the widespread burning of Rohingya villages and assaults and killing of civilians. I have been particularly horrified by the numerous accounts of sexual crimes that we have collected. We have also begun a dedicated inquiry into financial information related to entities and individuals that have contributed to or benefited from the serious international crimes committed in Myanmar. We are looking at weapons supply chains and the dispossession of land, homes, and businesses, particularly during the clearance operations in Rakhine State.
The human rights cause in all its facets has the potential to unify us at a time when we urgently need to come together to confront the existential challenges that we face. This is ultimately about building trust and restoring hope through the work of this Council, and all of us need to play our part.
Amid the ongoing violence in Myanmar, the UN Children's Fund, or UNICEF, warned that children have been the worst affected.
Myanmar is contaminated with landmines and unexploded ordnance. In the first 6 months of 2023, 556 casualties were reported nationwide due to landmines and explosive remnants of war. This is 143% of the total casualties reported last year. Children make up 20% of these casualties.
The EU calls on the Myanmar armed forces to immediately halt the use of violence against civilians, create the conditions for a safe and dignified return of Rohingya to Myanmar, facilitate the unhindered delivery of humanitarian aid, adopt a moratorium on the death penalty, release political detainees, and allow the population to exercise their rights, including their freedom of expression and assembly.
We appreciate mechanisms close engagement with the ICJ, ICC and the court in Argentina to facilitate justice for the Rohingyas. We are pleased to host IAM's successive missions to Bangladesh and committed to cooperate further with the mechanism. Mechanism's access to Myanmar is important for the on-the-ground investigations. We urge Myanmar to fully cooperate with IIMM.
Thousands of Indonesian and American troops commenced a 2-week-long series of joint exercises. This collaborative effort involves allies from 5 nations and aims to ensure stability in the Asia-Pacific region. While concerns have been mounting among the U.S. and its Asian allies regarding China's increasing assertiveness in the Pacific, Washington has emphasized that these drills are not directed at any specific country. The annual exercises, known as Super Garuda Shield, were launched in Baluran, East Java. Over 2,000 American troops are actively participating in these exercises. The Indonesian military has deployed 2,800 troops for this joint endeavor. The opening ceremony took place on Thursday morning and was presided over by Indonesia's military chief, Yudo Margono. The training program includes a wide array of activities, including expert academic exchanges, professional development workshops, and command and control simulations, amphibious exercises, airborne operations, and simulated airfield seizures. These exercises come in the context of growing regional tensions, particularly highlighted by Beijing's unprecedented war games near Taiwan, which China claims as part of its territory. As a show of international collaboration, observer nations participating in these exercises include Brazil, Canada, Germany, India, Malaysia, the Netherlands, the Philippines, South Korea, New Zealand, East Timor, Brunei, and Papua New Guinea.
Tahun 2022 memang jumlah pasukan darat lebih besar, akan tetapi di tahun 2023 ini betul-betul combine exercise yang melibatkan dari 3 matra, Army, Navy, dan Air Force dalam jumlah yang cukup besar.
And it's just another example of how our partnership and how the integration of our forces can really work when we all pull together in an exercise like Super Garuda Shield. Doing that really builds our readiness, builds our capabilities, and builds our partnerships. And so we're very excited and happy with the way this exercise has gone.
We've all just witnessed a fantastic example of cooperation, and that's cooperation based on trust. It really warmed my heart to see all those troops out there working together as one team. Personally, Australian tanks alongside Indonesian tanks firing together in a relationship based on trust.
Super Garuda Shield is an important exercise to raise the interoperability, capabilities, as well as the friendship and the mutual understanding amongst partner nations.
As my usual habit, I'd like to end the day on a positive note. Let's encourage and build each other up so that no one is left behind. And that's it for tonight's broadcast. I'm Alma Angeles. Stay in the news because we live in extraordinary times. Good night.